Good morning. Welcome back. You're watching Daybreak on this 25th day of November 2024. In studio, I have Deputy Speaker, National Assembly, Gladys Boss. Good morning.
Good morning.
It's good to see you again.
Good to see you.
And the Member of Parliament for Kathiani constituency, also the Deputy Minority Leader, Robert Mbui. Good morning.
Good morning, Sam.
Geoffrey Ruku, Member of Parliament for Mbeere North, is on his way. Once he is here, he'll be joining the panel. But this morning, we're waking up to that story that is on the Daily Nation that you find there of why 10 judges face ouster over 3 billion shilling land feud. And also you find Ruto's not sincere on Adani. This is what the former deputy president is saying. President Ruto did not cancel the Adani deals because it was from his heart. It was because the Adani operations have been flagged in America. Given a choice, he would not have cancelled them. Then they're also talking about the climate talks that ended in disarray as poor nations reject mega 39 trillion shilling deal. They were hoping for 169 trillion shilling deal, but that was not possible. Inside state plot to pull plug on live transmission of election results, saying that there is an amendment bill that is before the Senate. They're calling it the Government-Sponsored Elections Amendment Bill 2024, which is talking about matters of transmission of election results. Then on the front page, the Standard, it's money, power, respect inside Catholic empire, and talking about the different sectors they've invested in and how close they are to the not just spiritual nourishment of the people, but also in their social lives, in the communities. How Ruto's big gamble paid off is a story that we find also in the Standard. It continues on page 4 of this Standard that is talking about the challenges that were saying the president rejected the Finance Bill 2024 after Gen Z protest in June. He also cancelled the Adani deals that he appeared to be pushing at any cost. And then says nobody knew what was signed because it has never been made public. You saw the president blaming the office of the public prosecutor and the judiciary because he wanted to distance himself and shift the blame to others, and he succeeded. He was, of course, quoting one of the contributors to the particular story on the Standard. And of course, that's what I want us to begin. On Thursday, the president gets sort of the national address to the National Assembly. Mheshimiwa Mbui, what did you make of that statement? Because it had quite significant movements, but also what is it that you got an advantage of knowing that you sat in the on the benches?
Yeah, if it is about the issue of Adani that the president talked about, which you've heard the former deputy president saying that even in cabinet, the president was constantly in support of that. I think what the president has done is demonstrate to Kenyans how gullible the parliament is. Because in 2023, they brought in this very, very harsh, taxation policy. 2024, they attempted again. My comments on the floor of the House on the 2024 finance bill, I said that, now that it is being led by the Gen Z, there is no leader. It's a leaderless movement. If you pass this, who do you call so that you can call off the demonstrations? I said it is going to be difficult for the country. Of course, I wasn't listened to, and we went ahead and passed the 2024 finance bill. Immediately after that, the president, when Parliament was occupied, he realized that it's not business as usual. Called members of Kenya Kwanza to State House, and then withdrew the finance bill, and all of them were there cheering him. And it was shocking because, they passed it, and he opposes it, and they're cheering him on. It's the same thing with the Adani deal. I will tell you, Sam, that we have talked about the Adani and how it is not a transparent program, and the president has supported it, and he supported it because the Minister of Treasury, the CS John Badi, has supported the JKIA arrangement. The CS for Energy, Honorable Pio Andai, has supported the Ketraco movement. In fact, on that very morning of Thursday, he was actually issuing a statement and saying they've done the due diligence and this group has been confirmed to be okay. The bidder is perfectly in order. And in the afternoon, even the leader of ODM has also supported the Adani deal. In the afternoon, the president pulls the plug on Adani, and the same parliament is up in arms there, giving him a standing ovation. I think he has exposed parliament for what it is. It is, we unfortunately, a lot of our members are unable to make decisions on the basis of the fact that they were elected to represent the people, and they do what the executive wants. And I think what former deputy president told us, it is not honest, it's true, because on the same day, on Thursday, is when these Adani people were indicted in the US. So he probably was running away from the shame of having given the country's JKIA, given the country's energy sector, and even our health sector in the hands of a person who is known to have been going around bribing. In fact, we are waiting to get to know, because we don't want just pulling the plug on Adani. We want to understand, because the case in the US is that these Adani have been bribing government officials. We want to know who in Kenya was bribed and how much, and we want to know whether they'll be able to return that money.
You think there was bribery in Kenya?
But that's a case in the US. That's what Adani has been accused of.
Specifics with matters in India.
Yes, but you see, the minute they're being indicted because of bribing government officials, and the shady manner in which it has been handled in Kenya, no transparency. In fact, this thing was actually whistleblowers. Honorable Senator, Onyonka is the one who raised it. It had not been presented in a transparent manner. So we believe that there are people who must have received some bribes for it to have gone the way it did.
Okay. Deputy Speaker, what did you make of the statement of the President, but also specific to the issues that Honorable Mbui is raising?
I think, first of all, what's important for us to always, whenever we speak about something, it's to put it within a context. We know that in every country, not just Kenya alone, there is only 3 ways in which you can fund a country or run a country. 3 sources of running a country. 1 is by taxing. 2 is by taking debts. 3 is by entering into public-private partnerships to fund infrastructure projects. So, for example, we need roads. We need electricity everywhere, which we need dams like in Kathiani and so on. The only way we can fund those is by entering into public-private partnerships, which is still a loan, really, because you're just allowing someone to build it now, and then you can pay it over a year, 30 years or 20 years, and so on. So it's very important to put it within that context. So every single day, every other country in the world is entering into public-private partnerships. And then also, remember when you start a process, when you start a negotiation, I'm a lawyer, and you start negotiations, somewhere midway, certain information comes to you.
Right.
And when you get that information, you're not going to sit back and say, I'm not going to change my mind because I had stood by this at the beginning. You can actually reverse your decision depending on information that you get. The president receives intelligence briefs. He also receives other intelligence briefs from partners. Right. Like World Bank and other countries where we have agreements with. And so, which Honorable Mbui and myself are not privy to. So when the president receives that information, I think we should laud him for having said, this must stop because I have now received other information. In fact, he said that while he was in Parliament. He says, remember, we have other partners that give us certain information. Even in the court process in Kenya, we have something called the power of review. A judge can make a judgment and becomes functus officio. That means it's closed. He no longer has any power over that case. But you can go back to the judge under the power of review and ask the judge to review their judgment because new facts which were not available at the time the judge made the decision has now become available. So the power review is in the judiciary. It's in every decision-making process. And I think also, Honorable Mbui, again, it's also important to, that's why I said, I'm always worried of misleading Kenyans. When you talk about an indictment is not a conviction legally. An indictment, it means you've been proposed for prosecution. And then you will go through a legal process, and then if the evidence is sufficient, then you can be convicted. So I think it's important. We know information has come to the country that the Adani company has been indicted, but they have not been convicted. But even just based on that information alone, I think the executive...
You think indict is to...
Indictment, yes, indictment is not a conviction. It means they have to still go through the legal process.
You're saying it's proposition, proposal to what?
Okay, you know, in Kenya, when you say that so-and-so has been charged in court, it doesn't mean they've been convicted. So that's the meaning. So I think it's
charged.
Yeah, being charged. Yes.
Okay.
It's a word that is used in the UK. Yes, it's used in the UK and used in the US. Yeah, you've been indicted.
All right.
Yes.
Let's listen to what the president said on the floor of the House, just for context, before you can continue.
I have directed agencies within the Ministry of Transport and the Ministry of Energy and Petroleum to immediately cancel the ongoing procurement process for JKI expansion public-private partnership transaction, as well as the recently concluded Ketrago transmission in public and immediately commence the process of onboarding alternative partners, because these are important projects. Honorable members, the work of taking our nation forward is our collective responsibility as citizens. For this reason, we value the contribution of all, whether they come in the form of support or encouragement, suggestion or proposal, criticism or protest.
Deputy Speaker, you were in the House, right?
Yes, I was.
Why were members so happy with that announcement?
I think what has happened is that I think what they were loading, it was a very brave move. Like I said, only fools don't change their minds. So I think it's the bravery that you can say we have received new information, or whichever decision is made, or that this we have discovered, we have received information from our partners, and now I've directed that we make the decision to cancel. So I think it's the bravery that that the MPs were loading. Even the time of the finance bill, it was the same thing. There are many people, there are many leaders who, when they have put their mind to something, and if they were part of it, they don't have the guts to take it back. So the bravery, the sense of leadership, and the ability to take, take the fall.
So he changed his mind from what?
Sorry? No, I'm saying if you finish that clip, you'll see that when he went on, he mentioned that we receive information from other partners.
Deputy Speaker, you just said that members were happy with his bravery to change his mind, and you said only fools don't change his mind.
Yeah.
So he's changing his mind from what?
No, the Adani negotiations that were ongoing. Remember, nothing had been signed yet. These were negotiations that were ongoing, and as you proceed with the negotiations, there is always you seek information, you have disclosure documents that are given. And like he said, we have partners who also give us some other information.
Yeah.
And then based on that, there's an executive decision to cancel the contract. That, I think, is a very laudable move.
You then suggest that the entire process had the blessings of the president.
I think that is your speculation.
No, I'm asking you because you're saying...
I don't know that. I wouldn't use it that. These were ongoing negotiations. Every single day in government, every minute, all the persons who are in decision-making processes, whether CEOs of state corporations, chairpersons, boards, principal secretaries and ministers, are every day negotiating in order to reach a decision. Some decisions go to the full end, others are usually cancelled, but it's just that they don't become so public.
Okay.
Yes.
So
it's not odd.
And
it's like the way the doctors can decide when you go to hospital, they will say, we're going to take this procedure on you. And then after consultations, and second opinions and so on, they can change their minds.
That's a very good example, but it's a doctor who is treating. So are you saying that...
It's a decision-making process.
Are you saying that the Adani deals...
I'm saying it's a decision-making process.
Let me just pose the question, because you've used a very good example of doctors. Are you also saying that Dr. William Ruto was the initiator of the Adani?
No, I'm not saying that. You're saying that. I haven't said that.
Okay. Now, and based on new information provided by our investigative agencies and partner nations, that the procuring agencies within the Ministry of Transport and Ministry of Energy and Petroleum immediately cancel.
Yes.
Who are these, our investigative agencies that gave information to?
I think we'll have to ask the head of state that, because I don't sit in cabinet.
Good answer. Mheshimiwa Mbowe, why were you guys so happy?
Well, I wasn't happy, and maybe for the record, I unfortunately was not in the house that day.
Okay.
Something came up, so I wasn't there. But I wouldn't even have stood up, because for me, I think it was just an exercise in PR. It happens every time. I listened to the Deputy Speaker when she says, indicted means it's a proposal to charge, not yet charged. And yet, at the same time, we are saying that it is on the basis of that this deal was cancelled. So, I mean, you have to agree. You have to agree. If the indictment is important, then agree it is important, because you can't diminish the value of the indictment in the U.S. And it is on the same basis that we are actually cancelling these Adani deals. So we have to be consistent in what we are looking at. And then the issue of saying changing our minds, only a fool doesn't change his mind. Then I want to agree that the Parliament of Kenya then is very far from fools, because they are constantly changing their minds. They are 100% in support of a situation, and when the head of state speaks, suddenly you are 100% again in support of the complete opposite. So I think for me, and I still believe what the head of state did is he exposed Parliament for what it is. And that's why my party leader said, 95% of this current Parliament will never see Parliament again, because they have sold out, their souls. And have not done the job for which they were recruited to do.
Okay. All right. And I want us to take a short break. When we come back, we'll also be focusing on that and more that came from the State of the Nation address. We're also hoping that Geoffrey Ruku will have made it to the studio. But first, the break.